The main character in Honkai Star Rail, also called the Trailblazer, is surprisingly pretty good, especially for free-to-play players. So today we're going to go over everything you need to know to use them effectively. So I guess the first thing we have to talk about with the main character is that right now, at the time of recording this, there are two different elements or combat types that you can have for the main character. When you start the game, they're a destruction physical damage dealer, and then as you progress through the story of Yarilo 6, you actually unlock the ability to switch to a fire preservation character, and that's what we're going to be focusing on here in this video, the fire preservation version of the main character, for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think it's just better. I think that you need a tank on your team, and this is a good free-to-play tank that you just get by playing the game. And B, because the destruction physical damage dealer version is just, in my opinion, it just felt really weak. I didn't think it was that good, man. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. You can let me know in the comment section below. Now, as a preservation character, that means this is your tank on your team. They are good at taking damage, at taunting, at providing shields, and that also means that they are pulling aggro at a higher rate than some of the other paths here in the game. So if you guys didn't know, characters with a preservation path have a higher probability of being targeted and attacked by the enemy, with an aggro base value of 150, which means they are literally twice as likely to be attacked than a character that is the hunt, such as Zila. Now, the other interesting thing about the fire main character is that their basic attack actually gets enhanced by their talent to provide a little bit of AoE damage. Okay, so it's not all enemies, but you are able to choose a target that you'll deal more damage to, and then the adjacent enemies will also take damage. And one of the cool things about that is that the fire element is a really nice element to have just on your team for type coverage purposes. I feel like a lot of times I run into scenarios where I wish I had somebody who's fire, and then boom, there we go, I can actually deplete the toughness of multiple enemies simply by using my basic attack and saving my skill points for another character such as my Zila. On the topic of skill points, I find that the main character here isn't that demanding when it comes to skill points, for a couple of reasons. First of all, the skill that he does use here is primarily used as a taunt. Now, you are also reducing the damage that you take, but this is great if the other members of your party are really low health and you want to make sure that, you know, your tank is the one being attacked. But you don't need to use this every single cycle, because as I said before, there is a higher probability that your main character will be attacked anyway because he is the preservation path. So you don't really need to use this skill that often unless you're in a really challenging fight, and that leaves you to using your basic attacks when you feel that it would be useful to apply damage to up to 3 targets and possibly even break their toughness while doing it. Now, since we're talking about skills, let's go over what these skills are actually doing. For the basic attack on this character, it deals fire damage equal to 50% or all the way up to 130% of the Trailblazer's attack to a single enemy and gains 1 stack of magma will. Speaking of magma will, let's talk about the talent here. Okay, it says each time the Trailblazer is hit, they gain 1 stack of magma will for a max of 8 stacks. When magma will has no fewer than 4 stacks, the Trailblazer's attack becomes enhanced, dealing damage to a single enemy and enemies adjacent to it. So this is what I talked about before. So once you get up to those 4 stacks, either from being attacked or by dealing attacks yourself, you can start to do the damage to adjacent targets. When the Trailblazer uses basic attack, skill, or ultimate, apply a shield to all allies that absorbs damage equal to upwards of 7% of the Trailblazer's defense plus 102.5. This is at max level 15. The shield lasts for 2 turns. So this isn't a super big shield, but it does apply pretty much for free no matter what you're actually doing. So that's pretty nice, I would say. If we take a look at the skill here, it says increases the Trailblazer's damage reduction by upwards of 55% at max level and gains 1 stack of magma will with a 100% base chance to taunt all enemies for 1 turn. So essentially what a taunt does is it reduces the aggro value of all of the other party members to 0, which means the only target that they could possibly hit would be yours. Even if a boss is already locked on to another one of your party members and then you taunt with the main character, the boss will then attack your main character, assuming that the taunt still exists when they do launch that attack. And as you can see here, this is yet another way of gaining a stack of magma will. So here we can identify that getting to 4 stacks is going to be really easy. And let's take a look at the ultimate. At the highest level of 15, deals fire damage equal to 125% of the Trailblazer's Trailblazer's attack plus 187.5% of the Trailblazer's defense to all enemies. That's huge because this does not reduce depending on, you know, which target you choose. It's just the same amount of damage to every single target. The next basic attack will be automatically enhanced and does not cost magma will. So not only do you get this massive AoE here, which is nice, but you also will then get to apply that damage to a single target with adjacent damage without removing your magma will stacks. So that's really nice. If we look at their technique here, this is essentially the ability that you can use outside of battle before entering battle. It says after using at the start of the next battle gains a shield that absorbs damage equal to 30% of the Trailblazer's defense plus 384 for one turn. So it's only one turn, but it is a nice way to start the battle with a nice little buff here. I typically use this quite a lot, especially going up against formidable foes. So as you can see, the Trailblazer has a couple of different roles that they can play, mainly a tank, but also they can deal some damage and break the fire toughness. Now it is worth noting that the ultimate ability does cost 120 energy, but I do feel like he fills this relatively quickly, and he definitely feels like he fills it quicker than my Japar, for example, because I'm assuming it's just because he has a higher base speed, so he's just participating in more turns, and because of that taunt you can sort of force targets to hit him, which will regenerate his energy a little bit faster. So I do really like that. Let's take a look at the traces here. Okay, since this is primarily going to be your tank, I'm going to recommend a couple of traces in the order of your skill first as your priority, then you would go for your talent, then you would go for your ultimate, then you would go for your basic attack. I say that as I still have an upgrade available for my skill. We do have a few bonus abilities here that are pretty cool. So this one says after using the skill, the damage taken by all allies reduced by 15% for one turn. So that's really cool. And then this one here, unwavering gallantry, using enhanced basic attack restores the Trailblazer's HP by 5% of their max HP. So again, a nice little sustain there. It's not much, but it does add up over time, which is pretty cool. And then here we have action beats overthinking. When the Trailblazer is protected by a shield at the beginning of the turn, increases their attack by 15% and regenerates 5 energy until the action is over. Next, let's talk a little bit about light cones. There's a couple here that are really good for the fire main character. First, we can talk about moment of victory. This is a 5-star light cone, so you may not have access to this right now. As you can see, I don't have it, but it says increases the wearer's defense by 24% and effect hit rate by 24%, increases the chance for the wearer to be attacked by enemies. When the wearer is attacked, increases their defense by an extra 24% until the end of the wearer's turn. So obviously here the key is the defense, right? Defense is what is going to deal more damage with your ultimate. It's also going to mitigate the damage that you're actually taking, so the more defense you can stack on the main character, the better. There's also day 1 of my new life. This says increases the wearer's defense by 16% after entering battle, increases damage resistance of all allies by 8%. Effects of the same type cannot stack. So again, we're just putting more defense on this character. Same thing with This Is Me, increases the wearer's defense by 16%, increases the damage of the wearer when they use their ultimate by 60% of the wearer's defense. This effect can only apply one time per enemy target, so that is interesting. Obviously his ultimate is an AoE, so this is a lot of both things, right? Obviously there's a little bit of tankiness with the defense and extra damage, but it only pops at one time. I do like this light cone a lot. I really do wish I had it, but it is only a 4-star. And then finally there is Landau's choice. It says the wearer is more likely to be attacked, but damage taken is reduced by 16%. So straight up, this is just a generic tanky light cone. You take less damage, you may be attacked more, but that's kind of what you want, especially because you have the taunt, so you should be good. Moving on to relic sets, you do have a couple of different options here. The first one is Night of Purity Palace set. The 2-piece bonus just gives you 15% more defense. Like I said, defense is the main stat you want to stack on this character, and if you have all 4 pieces, increases the max damage that can be absorbed by the shield created by the wearer by 20%. This is nice because the shields are a little bit small on the main character, so having that there is really good. When it comes to which stats you want to prioritize with these relics, defense percentage is really solid. Obviously flat defense is okay as well. Then you could focus on maybe speed, so you can regenerate energy a little bit faster, and then effect resistance, that's okay as well. Now when we look at the chest piece here, you would preferably have this just be defense percentage if you can. Same thing for the feet and the hands, and then of course obviously HP is the main stat for your head. The other relic set that we could look at is Guard of the Wuthering Snow. This is another sort of tanky set that you could build, which says for 2 pieces reduces damage taken by 8%. That's really nice. And then the 4-piece bonus says at the beginning of the turn, if the wearer's HP is equal to or less than 50%, restores HP equal to 8% of their max HP and regenerates 5 energy. So another little bit of sustain there if you really need it. Obviously he has the talent that gives him a little bit of healing. This is going to be another source of a small amount of healing as well, so that is really cool. And then the same thing here for the hands, feet, and body. If you can get the defense percentage as your main stat, that is going to be great. Next, let's talk about the planar ornaments. So we have the Sprightly Vonwhack. Did I say that right? Anyway, this 2-piece set increases the wearer's energy regeneration rate by 5%. When the wearer's speed reaches 120 or higher, the wearer's action is advanced forward by 40% immediately upon entering battle. So again, just getting him out into that battle real quick. Very good stuff there. The other set that you can look at would be Fleet of the Ageless. It says increases the wearer's max HP by 12%. When the wearer's speed reaches 120 or higher, all allies attack increases by 8%. So again, a little bit more sustain here with the extra health. And finally, the Belobog set says increases the wearer's defense by 15%. When the wearer's effect hit rate is 50% or higher, the wearer gains an extra 15% defense. So this is once again obviously just tanky. This is good, especially pairing the Belobog set with the Guard of Wuthering Snow set. Obviously these are both themed for Belobog, so it makes sense that they would kind of work together. Finally, let's talk about the Eidolons here. Now one of the things that's worth noting is that if you work on the Eidolons for the physical damage dealer destruction character, it does not carry over to the fire preservation. Okay, but you are able to get all the Eidolons that you need. Obviously I'm only missing 1. I believe you get 4 of these from the actual shop in the 3rd planet that you visit. One of them I think you get for free through the quests or something like that, or you may get this from the shop as well. I don't remember exactly. I personally don't have the 6th one, so if you guys know where to get the 6th one, let me know. But the shop is sold out, so I'm assuming that you're going to get it in some way through the story or something like that. But what's unique about this main character is that you don't have to worry about summoning these. You're just going to get them, which is great. So the first Eidolon says when the character uses their basic attack, it additionally deals fire damage equal to 25% of the Trailblazer's defense. So here you can see once again the reason we're stacking defense on everything is because of that's how you're dealing most of your damage. When the Trailblazer uses their enhanced basic attack, so this is when you have 4 magma will or higher, additionally deals fire damage equal to 50% of the Trailblazer's defense, which is great. At E2, the shield applied to all allies from the Trailblazer's talent will block extra damage equal to 2% of the Trailblazer's defense plus 27. So very small buff there to that shield. E3 says increases the skill level +2 to a maximum of 15, talent level +2 to a maximum of 15. E4 says at the start of the battle immediately gain 4 stacks of magma will, and this was huge because this means right at the beginning, right when the battle starts, you can deal that adjacent damage with your basic attack, which is nice, especially when you're using characters like Zila, like I am, where you know that character takes a lot of skill points away. Here you can get some really nice benefit out of just a basic attack right at the beginning of the battle. And then at E5 you gain a couple of points here for your ultimate and your basic attack. And finally at E6 it says after the Trailblazer uses enhanced basic attack or their ultimate, their defense increases by 10%. This stacks up to 3 times, which is cool. Overall, the fire main character has been surprisingly useful, and right now I find him more useful than my Gepard. That's obviously because I have him at E0 and he does require a lot of energy regeneration and speed in order to get him up to a level where he can really start to carry with using his ultimate over and over and over again, because his energy cost is lower on the ultimate. It's just getting that off is kind of annoying. So until I can build my Gepard even more, I've been finding that the main character has been a really useful tank. You can see I took him to level 60. I have a light cone on him. It's a solid character that you get for free, which is why I wanted to make my first character guide here on the main character. If you enjoyed this video, drop a thumbs up on it. It really helps out the channel a ton. It helps get this video out into the YouTube algorithm so other Honkai Star Rail players might see it. Let me know what your thoughts are on the preservation main character down in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you guys. While you're down there, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell to be notified the next time that I upload a Honkai Star Rail video. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Omniarch. I will talk to you guys again soon. Peace.